Hi guys, welcome back to another video. Some of you might be disappointed. This video is not going to be part 2 of the Eggmobile build. Just like I want to put it into context, that Eggmobile project's a big project. I reckon like if I was going flat out at that, best I could build that in is 3 weeks. Realistically, it'd probably take one person a month to build that Eggmobile. 2 people probably 2 weeks. So I've been tipping away at that. I've only really been doing half days on it, just because I've got to look after the farm and all the other things. So the second part of that will be coming soon. And in this video, we've been doing a lot of projects, and I want to say a big massive thanks to my brother-in-law Tommy, who's been helping me out driving the digger. And I also want to say, for a bit of context, like I'm spending a lot of money on the farm here now this spring. I spent a lot of money most springs to date, so it all looks great, but there's a lot of money being spent. Now I'm lucky, I've been running the farm well and hard for 2 seasons now, so I've been saving up that money. You know, you can't expect to, year one start off and building all this infrastructure. It's just not realistic. There's tens of thousands of euros of infrastructure that I'm putting in here, and I've spent time saving that money up. I've sold a lot of eggs, sold a lot of chicken, to spend that money, and I'm choosing to reinvest it as opposed to take that as big wages for myself. So just bear that in mind when you see everything I'm doing. I'm making these decisions based on my context, but the farm has to pay for it. So I'm hoping this is probably my last winter of doing lots of investment in infrastructure. I have a couple of other little things I want to do in the farm, but that's pretty much me done in the medium term anyway, investing in the farm. And from then on, I'm going to be taking way more wages out of the farm. I'm just in this is the brooder slash storage area. We store hay in here behind me, loads of kayaks, but the goats have been moved in here. This is kind of like a emergency storage for animals. I rather keep them in polytunnels just because there's more light in there. But our new laying flock is arriving in 2 days time, so I've moved the old laying flock into the Eggmobile, which is attached to the small polytunnel where these guys used to live. The old hens are still here for another 2 weeks, so these guys are going to have to camp out in here. Now it's given pretty wet day today, so we'll probably leave them in, but they'll be out during the day. Forecast looking good for the next week or so. Just today, I think maybe in another, is it Friday, is giving a bit of rain. It's quite cold now, like not much above freezing, and it's wet, so I don't put them out in that kind of weather. And I just let them hang out in here and eat some hay. And once the weather's good, they go out during the day and come in at night. So it's really handy to have this space. This is our brooder. I built this in the springtime. It's really kind of a get out of jail free card for me. It's good to have it. And they're just on deep bedding. That's just sawdust. There's about 4 inches of sawdust in there, and they're going to pull whatever hay they don't eat, they'll pull through, and that'll become bedding as well, so they'll be happy out. Hey Millie, hey Millie. Gilbert, what do you think? Gilbert's still with the flock. I don't know what to do. I should get rid of him, sell him on, but it can be quite hard to find a buck, and he's quite a good buck. He comes from really good breeding, so I might try and keep him around for next year too, because I can use him next year too, because obviously if these girls have babies, they will be progeny of him, so he can do another year no problem. He can actually do 2 more years, because they wouldn't be fit for breeding for another year, but we'll see. Just put the goats out here. Just give me a hand, and I'm actually finding goats are absolutely perfect for this type of context. They're really light on the ground. They don't graze nowhere near as heavy as sheep, and they're just absolutely perfect for me. They're not sore on the ground whatsoever. I just need to make them a nice mobile shelter, and I could overwinter these outside. Just keep plenty of stockpile ahead of them, and they're easy. Very nice animals. I can't believe I've never had goats in my life. They're absolutely perfect for our context. They're tough as hell. They love rough ground. Yeah, and they can produce beautiful milk and meat as well if you wanted. So really looking forward, hoping to expand the goat flock this year a little bit. Not really get into milk production per se yet. That's down the line, but that's my end goal here, is to get a breed of goat. I still got to figure all the systems out, how I do it, and get used and comfortable managing the goats. So I just, rather than having sheep on the farm, I'll probably keep a couple of sheep, but rather than keeping 20 odd sheep to manage the grass, I'd rather keep some goats on here, and they're just smashing it. This is where the goats have been, and this is actually where I could use goats to get meaningful impact. Come on, Jess, you're in my shot. Come on. So you can see the ground is pretty wet here now. If you can see, I easily leave my footprint there. But the goats have, that to me is just perfect disturbance. So if I didn't have poultry on the farm, to get that herd effect from, I would use my goats and time it perfectly in the winter time to really get good herd effect. And I would keep them tight, give it a nice churn up. This is just beautiful. It's not beat up in any way, but you can see how they've disturbed the ground. They would have mixed up the seed bank a little bit, and then you'd move them on and it wouldn't come back on this then for the rest of the winter. So I'm a lot of learning here for me, how I could, if I didn't have poultry, what animals I would use, and how critical timing and planning would be to make it all happen. The goats have been on this square here for 3 days. I'm moving them every 3 days. There's 2 adult females, 2 kids, they're not a year old yet, and 1 male there. And so they're getting, that's the size of paddocks, lasting them about 3 days, and then we move on. And as you can see, we're not taking too much grass off, we're still leaving quite a bit. And the good thing is, you can see they eat the tops off the rushes as well. I could have left them in here another day, they probably would have eaten away all these rushes. But you can see they eat all the tops of the rushes, so I could use them as a tool for that. It'd be a lot harder to get sheep to do that, and the goats would go for them first almost. So I think my plan now this spring is to get some sheep and goats together and really hone that machine into a soil building machine. Okay, got a machine in. I'm gonna get some stone here. I'm gonna try to strip this back. Gotta bury all my wires because there's a channel going under the road here. So we're gonna tidy these up and then strip. We've got the wires cleaned out. Now we're gonna drop this about, we're going to put in 6 inches of stone, so we're going to drop it about 12 inches. We want this about 6 inches lower than this level here, and then we want to raise it up down there so that it's actually falling back in this way. And then we'll put the container draining back this way, and then we'll put pipes running out of here to take the fluid away. So we're just getting the pad roughly leveled out, and we'll see what our heights are like, get the level on it, and then we'll get some fabric down and get some gravel on it. Put on a nice maybe 6 inches of gravel at least, so that it can spread the weight out nice. Once we've got this pad, then we're actually going to tidy up this bit here. We're going to grade this off and put gravel on that as well. We've just put in our waste pipe and we worked out what the slope is, because we want to put our storage tank down there where that pipe is down there. So we're going to run these off at a 2% slope, so that'll take our wastewater off to our waste storage. So we put some gravel over the pipe, give it some support. This is our power lines running in there. So we'll get this all tidied up, and then we'll just grade all this back off again, and roll out some fabric and put some gravel on top of that. has to be. You can see the laser going up there, and here's the staff. One of the best investments I've made on the farm, and I think I paid maybe 150 euros for that level, and it was a lot of money starting out because money was short and I needed to spend on a lot of things. But I've used every project you see around the farm that we've built. That level is invaluable, so it saves me. I would have had a higher level, I would have lost count of how many times, so it's paid for itself well over. Just putting in a nice big pad of gravel. It's about 4 inches of gravel, or sorry, 6 inches of gravel, plus we'll put it on about 8 or 10 inches, and then we'll compact it down. Just using our string line. This string line is sloped, so it always stays 6 inches below that line all the way along. This is just some road stabilization fabric. It just helps spread the weight out. Thankfully it's not too windy, just get some weight on it and then we'll pull it out. So our container is actually going to go to where the bucket is now, and we're just going to do an extended bit because there will be a little area at the front of the container which will be the livestock storage area before they're processed. So we'll get this filled out. And we're just going to grade off and gravel this bit here, tidy everything up and get ready for the container. Okay, we've got our pad set up and we're just cleaning this off. We've made a little pad down there. That's where foil water storage tank's going to go for the slaughtery, so we can reverse down here and suck it out of that tank and take it away. And that's going to be our water feeding it there, so we'll put our tank down there and plumb that into it, and the truck can reverse down here and suck out the liquid out of that tank by Monday, and we'll just run the whacker plate over this, and we're pretty much ready now to just finishing up little bits and we can get the container in, and then we'll tidy up again after. Okay, we're pretty much ready. Tommy's just moving. I want to put another layer of stone on the pad for our marquee, and also when we move the container in here we might tear this up a little bit, so we'll take some stone back in to tidy everything up. But pretty much ready. Container's due in about 2 hours. It's going to be a bit of work getting it maneuvered in, but hopefully it won't be too bad. I've made another little pad. I have a fuel tank I want to put up here, so just leveled up that and give it a little tamp. Yeah, a lot of work. Cleans up this area nice. It's a nice easy area to use and around the farmyard. I'm happy with that. We've got about 65 ton of stone in this tent, which is 3 lorry loads. Okay, we put it off the truck, and now we're just very simply, can't see them, where are they? We're just using fence posts. Very difficult to see in there. We'll put some fence posts. There's another one there. You can see one sticking out down there. We're just rolling it along. We're pushing it with the digger. And now we're going to start to change the direction. We're going to bring the ass of it back this way. That's going to push the front that way. And then we're just pushing it with the digger blade, and I'm going to drive it in home. That's the plan. It took a bit of a job to get it in the gate down front of the farm, but we got it in. Okay, we're pretty much in the home push here. A bit of moving and digging, but we're off the ground with rollers, and we just come straight now. And we keep pushing and pushing and pushing until we're back here, and then we'll just use the machine to get it pushed in tight to the side. But bit of work, but we're getting there. Okay, and we're all done with the work. So you can see we just graded off over the pad for the marquee where we do our tours in, and made that nice. And we've got our slaughtery sitting in, and this is just going to be sitting here for probably 2 months before I do any work on it. But It's perfect inside. It's got a checker plate floor. Can seal that up and power hose down. So the plan is to be able to come in. This back end is going to be our dirty side, and I'll probably, these are all wipeable surfaces, but I might even take off the stainless steel rails and line the wall with vinyl, just to make it easier for cleaning down again, particularly where the kill area will be. And so we can just come in with the power hose and hose everything down. It's all going to run out the back here, and we're going to put a graded drain pipe along the back here. And you can, if you remember, we buried a sewer pipe right here, that's going to hook up to that and take it off down to our storage area down there. I'm super happy. So yeah, it does exactly what it says in the tin: fresh chicken. So I'm just down here at my home place, and this is our old honesty box. I've been using this for like 2 years. When I started the farm, this was my honesty box, still is, and cost me nothing. Very simple, but it's time for an upgrade. So what I'm going to do is, I have so many projects on, I don't have time to build. I've ordered 2 little garden sheds, one for up at the farm and one for down here. So I've just grabbed my dad's tractor and just used the link box to scrape that back, and now I'm just going to put down a bit of gravel. The guy's going to deliver the shed tomorrow, I think. It's just a 6 foot by 8 foot little shed, garden shed, wooden one. Very simple and basic, but be perfect for the job. So I just got to level this up, so then I'll give it a quick roll in, and job's a good one. I can take some power into it and be able to put a fridge in there, so when we're selling meat we can sell through that as well. We've got our layers arriving. Just talking to the driver, they were loading out 15,500 birds this morning, and they couldn't get my 500 on the big truck, so they ran down with the little truck, which leaves it real handy for us. So we're just going to put them in the polytunnel now. We've got our new birds in, and been in the day now. It's starting to settle in well. And lovely young pullets. It'll be almost 3.5 weeks before they start coming to lay proper. So they do a lot of growing out still. They can chill out here, and of course we're still under housing orders, so we'll have to keep them inside. The polytunnel's nice because they still get loads of light, and keep them bedded. Means they can scratch around and be happy chickens. It's Saturday evening, and just in the shed here, fitting some roof racks to the van. My plan is to do a bit of travelling this summer with Neve. Hopefully we could get like one night getaways, and maybe we'll camp out in the van, convert the van over to do little like one night stopovers, so we can do some trekking, get around Ireland. That's kind of the plan, just to get some time away from the farm as well. So fitting on some roof racks will also be handy for moving material around. This is a Peugeot partner van. And they're actually very handy because you can let the passenger seat right away down, and you can get 4.8 meter 16 foot lengths into it. You know, they hang out the back a little bit, but you can move them around inside it. But it's going to be handier because now if I need to transport material, I can just whack it up in the roof here. It's up out of the way, and I don't have it sticking out the back down low. So just getting them on and getting another job done. This is our new goat, Annie. She's a pedigree Seanan, and she's actually come from a show herd, and she just kidded, and her udder, she's a little lump on one side of her udder, so she wasn't suitable for shows, so that's why she was for sale. So we bought her. She's probably a little bit too well bred and too big for my farm here, but she has good milk genetics. That's her udder. I'm just going to milk her. Stay up there, Gar. No, don't turn around. She normally sits for me. She's a little bit impatient here because she doesn't know what's going on. I normally start to milk her now. I just have a little milking machine. Strap that on and off we go. She's giving me about 3 litres a day. She's a first kidder. She's a really quiet plastic coat. She's in really good condition. I don't know if I can keep that condition on her. I'm feeding her some corn because that's the diet she was on, but I want to wean her off that once spring growth starts. I want to get her on just grass, and that's my plan, to get her changed over to a grass diet. I don't think I'll be able to keep this big of a goat in the farm, but I want to get some genetics, milk genetics in, and maybe we'll start to crossbreed and get something more suitable. These guys are doing awesome. So it's a very simple milker. There's a little pump, and it's a vacuum pump, and it pulses. This is our milk canister. That's the milk coming in there. You can see passing my hand. And this is the vacuum into the tank. This is a 14-litre tank, stainless steel. And you can see, so the cup just goes in the udder, and the milk flows through here. And it might be difficult to see, but it pulses on the teat to give some back pressure to replicate the kid sucking. And you can see she's got a good flow of milk coming through there. These are just little things to close it off once the milk's finished coming through the teat. And if one side takes longer to milk than the other, then you can just cramp this off so you're not putting suction on an empty teat. And yeah, this is dead handy. It's way faster than milking by hand, even though I can milk fast enough. My plan is to milk maybe 3 goats this year, so I don't want to spend, milking 3 goats will take half an hour, as opposed to if I was to do it by hand, it'd take me over an hour, I'd say, at least. And they're not expensive, these. I think they're like 150, 200 euros. And I'm gonna hopefully make this a mobile milking powder. That's why I went for this one, because this is a 12-volt DC unit, so I can hook it up to a solar panel and I can run on pasture. That's my end goal. She's a good girl. She's been a little bit contrary this morning, so I put her in the head gate. A lot of the time I don't have to even put her in the head gate, but I need to keep an eye on this, and then we'll get these guys outside. We're going to get everybody out, and these guys will soon be getting moved back to the polytunnel. Come on, right you go. Critter's done his job. Jesse, come on in here. This is the first time they've come out that this has been all stone. They're a little bit confused as to the routine, but I think they got it now. So you can see it's Gilbert and Annie. She's quite a bit bigger than the other goats. I think these other goats are a good size for my context. They can stay out all winter, no problem. Annie's she's a lovely big goat. And that's a typical dairy goat, that frame. It needs a lot of energy to keep them up. So come on, you know where these are going. We're heading out to pasture right there. And we've had some really mild weather, but we've had a lot of rain last night. And how I know, she's plugging the ground a little bit, and the other ones are walking there, and they're not even touching the ground. So that's how I know this is the wettest time of the year. You probably can't hear that, but I can really hear her cutting through the sod a little more than these guys here. But it's a good time to try it out now, because this is the wettest time of year, the wettest time. So I know it should be fine all summer, but I'm just thinking longer term, what kind of goat do I want to breed? Come on here, come on. There you go. She's a big strong goat. I'd say she's about at least 50, maybe 60 kilos. It's at 100 pounds. She's a big goat. Come on guys, come on. See some fair ground. It looks like mud, but it's actually just it's decaying grass from last year. So once spring growth kicks in, that'll get all covered up. Come on. So she's starting to get the hang of it a little bit. You see the other goats all go off to graze straight away when they get out. She sits there and kind of calls to me, but I've been watching her from a distance. Once I bug her off, she starts to graze a little. This is a kind of stockpile we're saving up and eating. It is very grassy for goats, but it's very rough. It's not so nutritious, it's very fibrous, so it'll actually be good for their diet. And I've kept myself a good stockpile here, so we're slowly moving over this. It's now the last day of January. I've got to graze all of this off, and I've only got a couple of goats, so I've got plenty of stockpile till spring growth comes. This was a little piece where I was going to put a culvert in here, but I just leveled this out to make it easier to go over with the eggmobile. I actually think I can avoid this because the eggmobile won't be coming out here until this is well dry. So I think in the spring I'll just seed this. I mean, I can leave it, it'll grow over. I might throw a bit of grass seed on it just to help it cover up faster. But we scrape that with the digger, and that's why that there is like that. It should look like that.